All right, welcome everybody to Play NYC 2022. I'm Nanners, and I am here with
Chris Pinyan.
And we are here to talk about Clear the Decks, which is a tabletop card game about naval warfare. Tell us a little bit about it.
Sure, so Clear the Decks is a cooperative naval combat game set in the Age of Sail. 1 to 4 players work together to sink an enemy ship. It has 9 difficulty levels, so you can start out with something small and easy, work your way up to something very difficult. And at its core, it's a evolving puzzle game. There's 3 numbers and 3 letters that you're matching up each turn to remove cards from the enemy ship.
Just taking a look at this game a little bit, you have put real terminology and real references to actual naval kind of like terminology that you would have, the flags and whatnot. You want to tell us a little bit about why you made it that way?
Oh, sure. So on the one hand, I became a big fan of the theme. I read the Master and Commander books, Horatio Hornblower. So I wanted to make sure that it had all those references in it, so someone who's familiar with the theme would enjoy those. But on the other hand, I wanted the game to be enjoyable and playable by someone who knew nothing about them. So you'll see a lot of cards that might have a title, like I mentioned, the weather gauge. You don't need to know what it is. It sounds neat. You just need to read the card and see what the action is. So you can play without knowing it, but you appreciate that it's there.
And can you give us the general rundown of what a typical game of Clear Decks would look like?
So sure. So first you create a ship for the enemy based on the number of players and the difficulty that you want to take. So a game could take anywhere from 30 minutes to 90 minutes based on what you create. You're going to put in structures, cannons, crew, and events. Each player is going to take their 3 cannons, and they're going to get dealt out of hand, so the players have got lots of ammunition, but they've also got tactics, marines, and officers. So those are those special cards that they'll have. Then each player will take their turn. They're going to attack the ship. They're going to get counterattacked. They're going to try to protect their cannons. Then the player will move on to the next player. So they're trying to work down the ship to destroy each section of the hull. Once they've removed all the hull cards, then the team would win. But if the enemy ship can destroy or deactivate all their cannons, then the players would lose.
Okay. So I mean, that's basically generally how the game would work. You have your cards, you have the enemy ship. It is a cooperative game where you're working together to take down an opposing ship. The enemy ship, the one that we have right now on this table, it's in 2 pieces, but are you able to expand it to make it like a bigger ship? Are you allowed to have multiple ships?
Sure. So the game can be 2 sections, 3 sections, or 4 sections. And initially I had 3 boards that would flip and fold, but I decided that might wear out and break. So instead it's 3 separate panels. You have 1 panel that's 2 panels is 3, and if you flip them all over, you get 3 panels can make 4. As far as the cooperative aspect of the game, players are encouraged. When I do demos, I put the cards face up. It makes it easier for me to teach the game, show some of the special cards people have. Also, since it is cooperative, you are able to get cards from other players. So people are encouraged to explain what they want to do. There are markers to show what you're going to do. And you can also explain maybe there's something you want to do that you can't do because you're missing a certain card. Maybe you need an officer. Maybe you need a certain kind of ammunition. So that's the cooperative part of it. You want to explain, talk, like maybe ask for advice. What's the best thing you think I should do? But ultimately, you command your 3 cannons. So you are deciding what you're going to do, possibly based on the input, maybe not. It's nice, and younger people can play. I really enjoy it when, you get an 8 or 9-year-old after they start playing, then they're like pointing over to their parents. Mom, you can do that. Mom, you can do, I'm going to give you this card, Mom, or Dad. So, and it's cooperative. So you either all lose. You are able to help another player get back into the game if they've lost all their cannons. That was another important part for me, to try to keep everybody playing till the end.
Obviously, if you're committing like 30 to 90 minutes and then one person falls out, that like might kind of impact their experience.
Definitely. They might be sulking in the corner, saying this is a stupid game, I never want to play it again. I'm from a large family and I have lots of nieces and nephews. So, you can only play a couple games where you're either intentionally losing so they win, or beating them because they have to learn how to be a good player, a good sport. So it's nice to throw in a cooperative game once in a while, so everybody can work together.
It's definitely nice to be working together to try to take out the ship. Now tell us, so do you have any plans for an expansion for this?
Well, thank you for asking. So one of the two most common questions I got when I first created the game, one was, where are the pirates? Because it was not a pirate game intentionally. The other was, well, it's nice that it's cooperative. Do you have player versus player version? So I promised that the first expansion would have pirates. So I did come out with a Pirate Hunters. And, as fun as it might be to be a pirate, ultimately they were not good people. So I made it pirate hunting. So you are attacking a pirate ship, trying to sink that pirate ship. But I also changed the mechanic a little bit. Pirates were not interested in sinking ships. They were interested in capturing ships. So now that version of the game is more about deactivating and taking over your guns as opposed to destroying them. But the players are able to rescue people, and they are able to recover stolen plunder. So, we're the good guys, they're the bad guys. I have another expansion coming out hopefully in about another month, where I add some specific historical figures, both good and bad, as well as a couple other card types. And then I do have two different player versus player versions that I have in production, or I'm sorry, in development. One uses most of the original game with just a few cards added, and then another one is just a completely separate deck of cards.
And now tell us, do you have any other games that you've either worked on or are working on?
Yes, so I was asked to collaborate on a game based on idioms, which the first thing is to explain. A lot of people just don't know. So they're common phrases. The one I use most often is the whole 9 yards. A lot of people understand that it means giving it everything you've got, but where does that come from? I use a couple different references. Does it come from golf or football? Spoiler alert. So as it turns out, it comes from World War II fighter planes. It was the length of the machine gun bullet strand that they could put in a wing. So completely different from the one I've been working on, probably like a board game, and completely different mechanic, researching idioms and things like that. Hopefully at PAX, I have a booth at PAX, and hopefully we'll have a functional prototype there so we can really start all over again and find out people who are willing to play test it, are interested, start to correct that email database, so that if we do a Kickstarter, we'll have a good we'll be off to the races right out of the gate.
Those are idioms.
Thank you very much. Yeah, very good. Very good.
I now know what those are. But yeah, I mean, what kind of? Because me personally, like I've played some tabletop, but I'm not too experienced with them, and I've certainly never developed them. Would you like to kind of maybe give us like a quick rundown of like what it's like to just start developing a brand new tabletop game? Yeah, we asked the hard questions.
Yeah. It is an exercise in patience, humility, and for me, it was a big personal journey. Learning how to be more of an extrovert than an introvert, taking all these really harsh criticisms. People by and large are good intentioned or well intentioned, but I liken it to, you've trained your son how to catch fly balls in Little League, and then somebody hits one to him and he drops it, and everybody looks at you and like, what have I done? It's like, you're lousy. And that's my analogy for this prototype that you've created, that you've put hours and hours in, and somebody tries and they're like, no, I don't like it. Or, why didn't you do this? Why didn't you do that? And, you smile, you say thank you. And sometimes it's excellent advice. Clear the Decks was originally a competitive dragon fighting game. And the feedback, it wasn't working, the mechanics weren't quite right, and I happened to like the theme, so it evolved into something that worked and did well and got funded and things like that. So, yes, it's a lot of playtesting by yourself at home, hours and hours. You know, I've also heard if you don't want to play your game 1,000 times, why should somebody else want to play it 10 or 100 times? So yeah, it's being out there on your own a lot too. You know, can't always find friends or relatives who want to be at a booth with you for 6-7 hours on a nice day in the summer. So yeah, it's a big exercise in patience, and sometimes going back to the drawing board, ripping things up, starting over. But you know, if you really like the theme and you really like tabletop and you have that vision, you know, you keep working on it.
We could definitely relate as content creators, totally understand that. Once again, thank you so much for talking to me. Is there any website that you'd like to promote here? Is there any social media that you have where people could find more about Clear the Decks or yourself?
Sure. So the name of the company I created is Crispy Games Company. So my name is Chris Pinyan with a P, so that was an easy one for me to come up with. The website, Twitter, Instagram, it's all Crispy Games Co. at whatever. Gmail's the email, and you know, Twitter and Instagram, and the website. If you're interested in seeing playthroughs, you can either go to the website or you can just search for it on YouTube. I do setup, I do playthrough. You know, the Kickstarter video is there as well. You can search for Clear the Decks on Kickstarter, and I think you should be able to access all the information on the past campaigns.
Once again, thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Really appreciate it.
It was great chatting with you, and we'll be back for some more Play NYC content. Once again, we're here at Play NYC 2022. We're going to interview some people, so stick around for next video. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe.